Alright, we got a Ranger RZR Razor 800 EFI. And we're doing U-Joint and Yoke. The front one right here. We got the replacement all ready to go. I'm going to show you how I got that out. This had a roll pin in it. Somebody had replaced it with a bolt and a nut going through that yoke. Alright, so you can get to that bolt. You might have to spin your tires, but you can get to that bolt right through there. That's where the front yoke attaches to the differential. You can see that hole, so it locks the yoke in. I'm going to show you what I did to take this out. So we got the brush guard and snowplow attachment off. We had 2 bolts right there in the front, 4 bolts in the bottom. Then we had 4 17mm bolts that went up through here that attach the differential mount. Right, those 2. Some of these you don't have to loosen the front differential, but this one you do. And we go over to the back here. There's the back where it connects. So once you get that bolt out, you can push your drive shaft backwards. You're gonna wanna push it backwards. I sprayed some PB Blaster first. So the other side of the yoke was here, pushed it back, and it still wasn't enough room to get this yoke off right there. Other models, you don't have to do this, but loosen your differential mounting bolts up under here, 4 of them, and then you can push forward on your differential. You can grab a hold of these boots. He's got a torn boot here. Just press it forward a little bit, and the yoke dropped. Once it drops, you shove it to the side a little bit, and then you can take a hammer, and I just used a little soft bar and then hammered the soft bar and hammered it off to here. Then it plops down. Now we're disconnecting on both sides and we got to pull it back. You can use a jack on the transmission to lift it a little bit. Take the mount, this mount off if you want, but you don't have to do that. What you have to do is take the plastic off from the inside. I'll show you. So anyways, we're disconnected from both splines here, front and rear. But you try to bring the drive shaft back, it's gonna hit on the transmission. So what you gotta do is lift up the front of the drive shaft. You can't do that because the plastic's in the way. I'll show you. Let's bring her down a little bit. Of course, it makes the job easier if you have a hoist, but you can do all this without a hoist. Jack it up, put it on some stands or something. Alright, so at this point, we can't get the drive shaft out because it hits on that transmission. We got to tilt up the front of the drive shaft so it goes down underneath that transmission and frame cross member. So here is the plastic floorboard here with the cup holders and stuff in the middle. And we'll see what size Torx those are when it comes down a little bit more. So I can grab that socket and tell you what size it is. There we go. We got a T27. So there's these little bolt holes all the way around this plastic. I don't know, there's like 8 of them. I didn't do anything right there by the shifter. Just enough to lift it up that far, 5 inches or so. So once that floorboard, that center console is lifted up a little bit, camera won't focus, there we go. Then you can slide that drive shaft out. Now we have it on the ground. See, there's the rear. We're not messing with that today. We got the front, and he brought me a greasable U-joint. It's already came popped in that yoke. What do we got? And we got a couple clips too. So, looks like we have a part number right there, 331 PO 1150101. You can cross that on Amazon, eBay, online, whatever. There we go. Let's start putting the U-joint in. All right, phase one of the U-joint. We got these little black clips. I had to like spray it with some brake cleaner and scratch it up with a screwdriver to see them. Let's see if we can see this one here. There's a little black clip right there. I've already got this one pushed back right there, so it's ready to pop out. We'll just grab our screwdriver, see if we can hook in there and pull it out. All right, get these little clips out. Now we're replacing the U-joint here in the yoke because the yoke is all messed up. So the U-joint's already in there. So all I have to do is get this part out. So I'm just taking those two clips out. All right, I got her set up. Instead of using my ball joint U-joint press or my shop press, these are small, easy to press out compared to like a truck. So I got a big oversized socket on one side, a little socket on the other side, and you can see I already started pressing it in. It's a lot easier with two people. I did it by myself. So we're only concerned with getting the yoke and U-joint out of the drive shaft because we have that one pre-assembled, sent to us. So we just got to press this sucker in, just tightening the vise until it almost bottoms out right there, you know, because we got to get that cap off. So I'm pressing it. All right, it got a little tight there, so I'm going to loosen it now. And you can see our bearing cap is sticking out. Perfect. See if it just comes out. Yep. Sometimes you got to grab some vice grips on it and start spinning it and pulling it out. This one came out by hand. That's cool. All right, now we got to press it back the other way. We got to press this so we can get this bearing cap out. I'll show you the setup. All right, here's our setup. We have the little socket. We fit it right in to the U-joint. See, it's inside that hole. And we've got our big socket on this side, so when we press, it's going to press this bearing cap right here out that way into the middle of that oversized socket. So I'm spinning the vise, and if you get tons of stiffness, you might have a problem. All right, so make sure everything's square. And I might have to use a deep well socket on this side. Let's see if that cap came out enough. It looks like it did. Yep, cap came out enough. And now, Pop-Tart, you want to be in a video? Not really. All right, let's get her in this video. Say hi. Say hi to everybody on YouTube. All right. Now this whole sucker will just finagle out of here for us. And then we'll move on to the next step. All right, we got our new yoke and U-joint set in there. We want to take our bearing caps off. This came to me greased up like this. Make sure your little bearings don't shift on you at all. They stay to the outside. So we got it in there. We're gonna take our first bearing cap and slide it in there. We gotta put the camera down. All right, first bearing cap is in, and I moved the yoke all the way over to make sure, you know, no bearings fell or anything. Now I'm going to put the next bearing cap in. Now the next bearing cap's in, and as we press this together, we want to make sure that those little studs on the U-joint don't smush any bearings. You want to make sure you can slide this yoke back and forth. All the bearings are straight. All right, so now I'm just going to put in my bench vise here and squeeze them together. All right, we got our bearing caps pressed in, nice and smooth here. Then our brand new C-clips, we're gonna pop them in there, give them a little tap with a hammer. You might be able to get them in with your fingers. Let's get those clips locked in. All right, we got our clips in and I greased it up. A little bit of grease shot out there. There's grease everywhere. Good opportunity to grease your rear U-joints. Maybe shove it up in there first, then grease them. All right, so it's all ready to go. This is the front. It's time to put it up in there. Just to get a little bit more room, I loosened this motor mount, the 2 bolts, and put my hoist stand under the trans and gave it just a little bit upwards. You don't have to do that. You can still finagle it out. So I shoved the drive shaft straight through. Then you gotta turn it to the side, either left or right of the yoke up there. So you have enough room to shove this forward and get it on this splines. Then you shove it all the way backwards. Now we line up the front with the bolt holes. So got it sitting right there. So that hole right there has to line up with the hole in the yoke. I'm gonna slide it on there and put the bolt through, bolt and nut. We've got our putter back. We got her put back in there. Now it can be a little bit of a pain to line up that hole. I had to come back to my rear side of the drive shaft and tap it forward a little bit, and then I could wiggle it around and get it lined up. And used a extender on a ratchet like down there, and a wrench on the other side. Wrench is hard to get on there. Another ratchet with extender would probably be easier. If you're working by yourself, you got to put like one hand up in here and then put your right arm through here. Anyways, I used to line up the hole, I used a little scratch awl. Gotta put it in there and wiggle it around till it was perfectly straight. And I used the scratch awl to line up the bolts for the differential mounting. If you had to loosen that, then you got to get those to line back up. So they're all lined up, and I'm going to put blue Loctite on these 4 bolts. They like to rattle loose on these, so I'm going to get those tightened. Get them all tightened down with some Loctite. Here's your drain plug for your front diff. Now it's time to put this plastic cover back up. We got all these bolts. Only one of the metal washers came off. Those are either 3/8 or 10 millimeter, one of the two. So the drive shaft's installed. Differential is mounted back down. I gotta put the 2 bolts in my transmission mount in the rear still, where I took them out. Then I'm gonna put this cover back up and attach the brush guard and snow plow back up there. There's 4 bolts in the bottom, 2 in the front. And there we go, that should about do it.